Hello, welcome to the Church360 Unite Getting Started and Setup webinar. Hi, my name is Rod Kiles and I am the manager, need to update that, I am the manager for Concordia Technology Solutions. You can reach me one of two ways. You can reach me by email at rod.kiles@cph.org, and you can also reach me by phone at 314-268-1315. I've been with the company for quite a while now, and at one point I was a technician, and then I got promoted to customer onboarding specialist, and I don't know, about 6, 8, 9, 10 months ago, back in June, I was promoted to manager. So been here for quite a while. I do ask that any questions that you have, you post those questions into the question box. It'll be located on the right-hand side of your screen. There's going to be a little control panel, and at the top of the control panel, there'll be a little orange arrow. If you click that arrow, it will collapse and expand that control panel, and inside there you can post questions. You don't have to hesitate or wait till the end of the webinar to post those questions. If you post them and I see them, I'll go ahead and answer them. If not, my associate who's joining me today, Jordan Bogart, he's going to be filling in that spot. So he's just going to take any questions and answer those along the way. So Jordan's been here for several years as well. He's one of our software support technicians. You may have spoken to him in the past. So he answers the phone, he answers emails, he's hosted lots of these trainings, so you may be familiar with him as well. You can reach him by email at jordan.bogart@cph.org, and there's the support number 1-800-346-6120, so you can give us a call as well. We'd love to hear from you. So from there, we're going to go through the class overview. Now, these webinars are broken into little sections, and we'll kind of go through each one of those little sections to present the material. So we'll start out with our class agenda, talking about these little parts of the webinar, and then we'll actually cover the topics in our class overview that we're going to cover. So we'll start out with the overview, then we'll jump into our discussion where we'll switch screens and we'll navigate through the software and show you how to do the different tasks that you're looking forward to. If there's something that you'd like us to do during this webinar, feel free to post that in the question box and we can make sure to cover that as well. So after our discussion, we'll have a short 5-minute intermission. That's your time. You can step away for a moment. I'm going to hydrate at that point in time, but feel free to step away. It's just 5 minutes, and take care of whatever you need to take care of. After that, we'll resume with our discussion. We try to break about midpoint, but the webinar is scheduled for 90 minutes, and we'll try to break around 45, 50 minutes, somewhere in there. And after that, we'll have a short quiz. This quiz is only 4 questions. No pressure for the quiz. It's just more of a recap of the information, and hopefully it possibly fosters additional questions that you can ask and have questions answered. So after the quiz, we'll have our question and answer session. So if there's any questions that Jordan or myself have not answered during the webinar, we'll answer them at that time. And also you can ask additional questions. There may be something that you are waiting to possibly hear about, and you can post those, and then we'll be like, hey, we'll answer it then. So okay, so we're going to start out by going through Church360 Unite's setup process. So I'm actually going to create a site from scratch just in case you're brand new to the software and kind of walk you through those initial setup screens. But we're also going to go through the settings screen and discuss what each one of those allow administrators to do inside of the software. So we're going to show you the account information. We're going to discuss domain names. So everybody's kind of familiar with that, but we'll discuss domain names and how they apply to Church360 Unite. And then we'll go into some of the other settings as well. So we'll say and more. Then from there, we're going to show you themes. Themes control the look and feel of your site, and they allow you to configure the way that you present the information to your church. So there's going to be themes, there's browse options, there's also styles, and we'll discuss those. There's also a customize option, which allows you as designers and users and administrators of the site to make the site look the way that you want it to. So, and then we'll say and more as well, once again, because there's quite a few settings there. From there, we're going to jump into pages. All the content that you put onto the site is going to be stored inside a page, and you can have as many pages as you need. So when managing your pages, there's going to be actions. There's also going to be the option to add and categorize your pages. There's going to be the ability to modify your pages. You don't want all canned and cookie cutter pages, so you'll be tweaking and modifying those pages. Then we'll kind of switch gears just a little bit, not a whole lot. We'll talk about feeds and posts. So inside of Church360 Unite, feeds are basically blog pages, but we'll show you how to configure those, and we'll show you how to manage posts and put posts onto those feed pages. So from there, we'll have our short quiz. We'll kind of be wrapping up at that point. Then we'll have our question and answer session. So, and then at that point, we'll head to lunch, or we'll head home, or take care of what else we need to take care of. So, okay, well, that's our overview. So I'm excited, as you can tell. I hope you're excited as well. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and switch screens. And I have an email here on my screen. I'm also going to turn off the webcam so that we can focus in on the screen, and we can not focus so much on my head moving around right here. So give me just a second on that. And let me double check to make sure that everybody can see my email here. So on your screen, for churches that are newly signing up for Church360 Unite, they're going to get an email that looks like this. So I sent this one to myself just a few minutes ago, and they'll receive this email and they'll click set up your site now. And then that will allow you to walk through the process of setting up your site. So those that already have a Church360 Unite site set up, I have multiple tabs here across the top, and I'm using Google Chrome. It's my preferred browser right now, but using Google Chrome, for those of you that have a site, you'll just go directly to that site and then log in and start managing the site. But for those of you that are setting up the site for the very first time, you'll click the link and you'll go into this page. Every once in a while, we have people who click the link and then decide to exit out. If you exit out of the startup process, it kind of leaves you in this limbo state, and when you go to the site, it'll say a message coming soon. So you just want to make sure to go ahead and work through and finish this setup process. So anything that you do during the setup process can be modified, changed, reversed at any point in time. So if you you'll notice here in just a second, as you go through and set it up, there's going to be some initial decisions we're making, but we will we'll tweak those settings here in just a moment. So my name's Rod. Full name's actually Roderick Kyles. You can email me at rod.kyles@cph.org, and then I'm going to type in my password. So I'm creating the first user on the site. And then since I'm inside the database, it'll check to see, or if I'm inside the database, it will check to see if I'm inside, well, I'm going to call it the 360 universe. So this product, Church360 Unite, is part of an umbrella called Church360, and there's 3 products. So there's Church360 Unite, which we're going to talk about today, but there's also Church360 Members, and there's Church360 Ledger. So it does a quick check to see if I'm inside of Church360 Members, and it will allow me to connect those 2 people together, myself with my other instance of myself inside the other database. So from there, inside of here, I'm just going to enter in the address. So we'll just say we're in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, Then from there, all I'm going to do is click continue. Let me mention this little icon right here. I use a product called Grammarly, and this is not an advertisement for Grammarly. You may have seen it, but that little green guy is not part of Church360 at all. It's just, it's Grammarly. It allows you to spell check the different things that you type into the software. So once you get to the next step, it's going to allow you to select a focus, and the focus gives you the ability to set up pages and set up categories. So there's 4 types of focuses. So there's member focus, visitor focus, mission focus, and then a completely blank slate, which you as administrators and designers of the site can create pages at that point in time. So if it's a member focus, it's going to be used to inform members about your church information. If it's visitor focus, I'll click right here, it's going to be used to, you're going to use your Church360 Unite to invite users, invite visitors to your church. And then mission focus, it's going to be used to share what we believe about Jesus. So you'll kind of notice how the information down here at the bottom changes as you go through and click on the different pages. So if you've already set up your site, you've kind of gone past this point, but we could provide you with the information that's in here if you wanted to head down that road. So let's say that our site is going to be member focused, and then we're going to click continue down here at the bottom. And then it's going to take a second to prepare, but what it's going to do is it's going to set up, and you'll notice the column headers across the top here, it's going to set up those categories at the top of your page, and then underneath those categories will be the different pages that we've created. So the next step in this setup process is going to be selecting a theme, and themes control the look and feel of your site. So if I click on earth tones, then I get this earthy kind of feel. Even the colors are kind of earthy. Each one of the themes has a different reason for being. So we'll dig into that here in just a few moments, but we'll go through and we'll select kind of like an initial theme to kind of give us the approach that we want. And some of them are going to kind of fit the feel of your church, and some of them not so much, but each one does have a reason for being. So I'm going to start with earth tones, and then I'm going to click finish. I'm always knowing and keeping in the back of my mind that any of the decisions that I make right now can be reversed and can be modified and changed. So there is a question that came in from Ronald, so I'm just going to read that question out loud. Hey, how's it going, Ronald? He says, Rod, our church has a site set up using WordPress. Is it possible to copy and paste from the site into Church360? And he said Rick here. So absolutely, you can copy and paste content that you have from another site or even from another program. So it could be Microsoft Word or Excel or just some other program, and you can paste it into the WYSIWYG editor of the site. So when you're pasting, you do want to, I guess, be cognizant of the information that you're pasting, and that sometimes when you work with a program, there could be information in the background that's pasted into the site that could make it look a little weird. But you can definitely copy and paste, and you want to probably use the paste text option if you're pasting text, but you can copy and paste information, absolutely. Okay, so once we land here in our Church360 Unite site, there's going to be some things that you see that are unique across the top. So across the top, it's going to have pages, posts, activities, users, themes, and settings. I call this the admin bar. So it's going to be how administrators control the site. So with each one of these tabs, they have a different function. So pages allows you to manage and manage and control the layout of your menu bars. Post controls the blog posts that are entered into the site. Activity controls or allows you to view the activity and different things that are going on in your site. Users is going to be where the users and church members are stored here on their site. And there's also another little aspect to that as well. Then there's themes, which allows you to control the look and feel of your site. And then there's settings, which are your site settings for your Church360 Unite site. And to close this panel, you'll notice there's a little X here on the right-hand side of each one of those tabs. So you'll click that little X to close the tab at the top. So that's the admin bar. Below that is going to be your main menu bar. And you may remember just a few moments ago, we were talking about the member focus and the visitor focus. And you can now see those pages below these category items. So those are your two menu bars. There's also going to be a settings area that allows you to access your user settings. There's the your name here, so that allows you to jump over to your profile, and you can also sign out. On the left hand side, there's going to be an edit page option, and actually I need to go to a page to be able to edit the page, but there's an edit page option here on the left hand side. You click there, and then that will allow you to make changes to your pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch from this site that I just set up to a site that's better populated for a demonstration. So this was just a site that I created to show everybody how the creation process happens. I'm going to go over to our demo site. So this one is branded as Christ Community Church. It's set up with kind of like matching color schemes. There's branding and logos on it. There's images. These items are hyperlinks. They'll jump you over to different parts or different places on the web. So you'll notice at the top of the window that it has a domain name, so christbakersfield.org. And a domain name is basically an easy way to jump over to a website. So in looking at this, you'll notice how it doesn't have, ours is Christ Community Church. So there's a subdomain name and a domain name. So it just allows you to type a few less characters to get to where you're going. So everybody will receive a subdomain name, and some of the plans offer a free domain name, but you could purchase one if you'd like. So, and it just allows you to have something that's a little bit shorter, but also could be a little more recognizable. Instead of having a domain name like christcommunitychurch.360unite.com/home, it could be something like christbakersfield.org. So thinking about a domain name can help everybody out, really. So okay, so now that I'm on this other site, most times when you get to the site, you're past that setup process and you're just going to log in, and every single site will have like a login option. So if I click on the little silhouette guy here, then I can click on sign in, and that's going to allow me to sign into the software. So I signed in earlier to make sure that my sign in worked, and that's what this little message is here. But when you go to sign in, what you can do is you can type in an email address or a username, and then you can type in a password. You can also use the remember me option, which will remember you on this computer. The usernames and passwords are self-administered. So in looking at this, it's going to say forgot your password. Once somebody is invited to the site, so an administrator will send an invite out to a user, then the user will receive the email. They'll click the link and they'll set up their own username and password. So they'll set up their password, they can log in and set up a username. With that said, they are the only ones who know that username. The administrator doesn't know that username. No one else at the church knows that username. No one else knows that password. If they forget their password or their username, they could say forgot your password, type in the email address, and then send me reset password instructions. So send me the password reset instructions. So I'm just going to go back. I know my username and password, so and I have it saved in this browser, but I just type in Rod, so it's 3 characters. But you can type in your email address, and then you'll just type in your username. For lots of us who use kind of like shared sign-ins, you do have the option to sign in with Facebook, and you have the option to sign in with a Google account. So both are permitted here. So I'm just going to sign in, and then that's going to log me into the site. When you're working with the site, there is both a public side and a private side. So as administrators, you'll determine which content should only be seen by people who log into the site and which content can be seen by everyone. So that's part of the administrator's, I guess, role here with the software. So now that we're signed in, we'll go to settings here at the top of the window, and we'll start out by reviewing the settings. So when you get to the settings tab, you'll notice this bar across the top, and it'll tell us the usage. And each one of the plans has a different level of usage. So you'll see how ours says we've used 482 megabytes out of 10 gigabytes. To see your plan, you can go to the you can go to 360unite.com, and once you're on that site, it'll navigate to our redirected URL. But once you're on that site, you can scroll down, and if you go to pricing, then it will show you each one of the plans. So it kind of speaks to the software, kind of gives you a comparison of your plans. And since I have the 10 gigabytes, I know that I'm on the advanced edition for my site. So with 10 gigabytes, I get 6 administrators. I don't get any email addresses. I could move up one level to show the email addresses. I also see that I get 10 gigabytes of storage, and the startup fee is $199. But you know, you can look here to see what type of features you have with the software. So I'm going to go here back to our site, and we have the name of the church, email address, phone number, the mailing address, and the time zone. So this information, let me close right here, does show at the bottom of the site. So we do want that information to be correct. So if there's a typo, like you go to this part of the program, you find a typo, you just want to go in and update that typo. So when people visit your site, they don't see those types of mistakes. And then the time zone works with the calendars over here on the left. So running down the left-hand side is going to be a list of all of your, or it's going to be a list of tabs, and then each one is a configuration for your site. So when I go to calendars, I'm going to see a list of calendars, and these calendars can be one of 4 types of calendars. So inside of here, you're going to see calendars that are custom calendars that your church has created. So a good example is like we have the contemporary service. So someone went to the top here, typed in the name of the service. So there could be a traditional, and there might be traditional in here already. But you could go in and type in the name of the calendar that you want to add, and you can create that calendar. So there's plenty of calendars in here. I'm not going to create any additional ones. So the first type of calendar is going to be a custom calendar. The second type of calendar is going to be a group calendar. So inside of Church360 Unite, you have the option to create groups. And I like to think of groups as being a little website within your website. So like this is the 20s and 30s small group. So they have their own little landing page for their homepage. They have other sub pages that you can create in there. There's also discussion pages. So there's space in there for you to kind of whittle out a little area for a small group. And you'll notice that group icon throughout this view. They also have their own calendar where you can store group events on that calendar. So the first is custom, the second is group. The third calendar is going to be I call them significant life events. These are things that happen in people's lives that are significant. That's the reason why I say that. So like baptisms, birthdays, confirmations, weddings, which should be down here, wedding anniversaries. So these are significant life event calendars. The reason why you see the lock on the calendar versus not seeing the lock on the calendar, so with the lock on the calendar, that means that that's a calendar that's shared between Church360 members and Church360 Unite. So earlier I was talking about, hey, this is one of 3 products underneath the Church360 umbrella. Well, information is shared within this Church360 universe. So when you're sharing the information, you can share people, you can also share calendars, and you can share the calendar events between these 2 products. So inside of here, you can state who can see that information. The calendar might be disabled, it might be nobody, it might be everyone, or it might be users. So, and when it says disabled, that just means that it's controlled by the group and not controlled inside of this view. So that's 3 of the different types of calendars. The 4th is that sharing between the 2 products. So you can go in here and you can assign colors, and you can state who can see that information. And Jordan will talk more about calendars and events and all the connections inside of the webinar, or during the webinar this afternoon. But just so you kind of know about this setting, you can go in here and make changes and turn on which calendars you want to see and assign different colors so that there's a visual cue between the different calendars. And usually you'll just assign similar colors to similar things. So maybe you make all your group calendars the same color, and you make your significant life event calendars the same color, or you just kind of pick a pattern that makes sense to your church. Below calendars is going to be domain, and domain is the domain name that you use to jump over to your site. So earlier, let me go ahead and log out here at the top here just for a second. So earlier we were seeing christbakersville.org, and I was saying, hey, that's a domain name. It allows you to jump over to a website, and it usually allows you to easily kind of recognize that address. So if I sign in, as soon as I sign in, it's going to start heading me toward the subdomain, and I'm connected to the server at that point in time, and then I'm seeing demo.360unite.com. So your domain or your subdomain name might be a longer name than you desire, and if that's the case, if your plan comes with a domain name, you could just simply create the records on your or in your domain provider's website, or if we've set it up for you, just let us know and we'll put this information in there. Then that will make the masking and forwarding start to work, and then we'll just type in your domain name and click save. So basically, when you're working with domain names, when I'm saying, hey, you jump over to your website, that's the forwarding aspect of this. And there's a little description here. You know, associating your domain name for your Church360 Unite site will allow members to go to a shortened name like mychurch.com rather than mychurch.360unite.com. So it works pretty good. You can give us a call, you can shoot us an email, whatever needs to be done to make that work. So below that's going to be Google Analytics. Google Analytics is reporting for websites. With Google Analytics, it's a free service that Google offers. You can go to google.com, and you can, if you don't have a Google account, you can create one, and you may want to create a Google account for the church. So if someone leaves, you can just let them have that account, you know, so it's not stuck with the person's name. But you can set up Google Analytics. They'll provide this account number. And then you just copy and paste the account number, check the box, and click Save Changes, and it starts the tracking, and it just tracks the different things that people do on the website. So it'll let you know where they came from, how long they were on the site, which pages they accessed while they were on the site. So there's a lot of good information that can be gleaned from Google Analytics. And then the last one is integration. And with Church360 Unite, you can have people put into the site, church members put into the site in 3 different ways. So you can have that done by pulling the people up from Shepherd Staff. So Shepherd Staff is a desktop software, so you can sync between the 2 products. So that's one way, and that's integration. If you're a Church360 members user, you can list everybody from Church360 members in here. It's done automatically. It's part of that shared universe thing I've been talking about. And then the third one is you can import people from a spreadsheet. So there's 3 ways of getting people into Church360 Unite. Not everybody has their church members access the software. You might just have an administrator, a pastor, and an elder accessing the software. But if you want more people to access the software, and there's benefits to it, namely they can access an online church directory, but also they can update their own information. So there's definitely benefits to it. You would need to import them or have them in this part of the software so that you can invite them. Jordan, he's going to be digging into this information a little bit more in the upcoming training this afternoon. So he'll explain users and inviting people and the different nuances. But I just want to kind of mention that since we're going past the integration portion of the software. And this allows you to integrate your people from Shepherd Staff into Church360 Unite. And we would just say not to worry. If you're a members customer, you probably already know the people flow between the 2. And if you're just a Unite customer, you can import people into the site. So there's some information there to be had. So to the left of the settings tab is going to be themes. And themes allows you to control the look and feel of your site. So when we were setting up the site, we selected the material theme. Actually, I take that back. When we were over here on the site that we set up, we selected the earth tones theme. On this one is built on the material theme. So each one of the themes does have its own reason for being. And if you look down at the bottom of this window, you'll notice the wording. So it's going to say material keeps things clean and bright with a tidy design, but each one literally is just a little bit different. So when we're looking at it, you'll even notice this one talks about having a header background image of 1020 by 145. So material theme is going to be a theme where the menu bar is horizontal and it has a clean feel to it, but it also gives you the option of uploading a background image. Each one has different little nuances to it. So there's earth tones, and it has a little description down here, and it allows the uploading of a background image as well. To try a different theme, and actually I want to click on material, and it looks like we're on material with kind of like the bluish gray here, so I can revert the site back to where I was. So I could go to earth tones. I could select the earth tones that I wanted with a preset, and then I could say apply theme. Then it will apply that theme. I could then close the tab, and then that theme is now applied. Now, if I start changing the color scheme, I may need to change the color scheme in other areas to make everything look and appear the way that I want it to look and appear. So I'm going to go back to themes. Now, the difference between the themes, lots of times is really it's really visual. Like all of the elements and options are available on each one of the themes. So when you look at these, you'll notice that some of the menu bars are horizontal, but some of the menu bars, I'm going to select the minimal theme here, and I'll just select this color here. Actually, let me select this one here, then apply theme. Then some of the menu bars are vertical. So they kind of automatically work with cell phones real easy when they're vertical like that. Now, all of the themes have the ability to resize themselves. So let's say we go to the modern theme here and we select this one with the kind of like the sunshine bands on there kind of going up. Now with that theme, I'm going to resize this, and when you go through resizing the pages, you'll notice how it kind of starts right sizing at that point in time. So it kind of squishes in and things like that. So when you're working with these themes, they call it responsive design. So it'll begin to shrink and fit to the device that you're on. So lots of us have multiple devices. We have our computers at work, we have our computers at home, we have our cell phones, we have our tablets, and they automatically resize. So you can kind of see how the items will, well, they were, side by side here, but when you got to your cell phone, the cell phone probably looks something like that. It looks like this. You'll notice the menu bar turned into this drop-down menu, and then the images reposition themselves into this vertical positioning where it scrolls down the screen. So they automatically resize, and you'll kind of be good to go. So you don't have to worry about selecting a theme that's going to resize for you. They automatically resize. So let me go back to themes here. And underneath themes, you'll notice how like some of these will say downgrade modern. When we release an upgrade to the theme, you do have to upgrade the theme. Now, all of our themes should be upgraded. And if it's a new theme, it was never upgraded. It was just designed where it was working the way that it should. So, and then when you go between the different themes, you just kind of look at the options down at the bottom to see if there's something that you may want to take advantage of. And looking at these themes, the wonderful cross theme is probably my favorite theme right now. It has several things in this theme that allows you to do things that churches like to see on their website. So I'm going to apply this one. I selected this one with the cross here at the top. But when you have this theme here, it puts this big banner at the top, and it puts the church name across the top. And with that banner, it could be a banner of your choosing. So let me go back to themes here. You'll notice at the bottom here, it gives you the measurement for the banner, 1600 by 640. And then you can also insert a church logo or a custom logo as well. But with that big banner at the top, and the fact it has a cross here at the top, I really like it. So you can select one of the different themes and select a preset to customize the view the way that you want it. Now, when you select a theme, that's kind of like your overall formatting and positioning of things on the page. So like if I go to this module theme, it's going to have these little blocks inside of the theme. But then when you select the preset, that's predetermining colors and possibly backgrounds and images and things like that. So the preset is a color selection option. So you're going in here and you're selecting the style, then you're selecting the, or not the style, but you're selecting the layout and the structure, and then you're selecting a color preset to go with it. So you can go through here and you can play with them. You just, if you find one, you may just want to make a little note, or it could be a mental note, so that you can go back and switch it back to whatever you want it to be. So, okay, so we're going to go back to themes, and when you're working with themes, you can select the theme that you want, and then on the left-hand side, there's going to be these tabs. We're going to use Customize. And we'll come back to styles here in just a second, but underneath Customize, that allows you to customize that preset that you selected just a second ago. So in looking at this, you can click on Browse to upload a background. You can click on Browse to upload a banner. These options are specific to this theme. So you can also select a background color. Inside of here, you can go through and use this little area select a color. You can also, I prefer the RGB codes. So each one of these may go to a different part of the site, but if I have to select a color, I prefer the RGB codes. And the reason why I prefer the RGB codes is because they're specific. I can't miss with the RGB codes. So you may have noticed here at the upper right of my screen, I have these little icons, and these little icons are extensions that I've plugged into Google Chrome. So it's one of the reasons why I use Google Chrome, because I've kind of got this browser set up and I've got these extensions in here and I've kind of become comfortable with it. Other browsers use extensions as well, but with these I have like a smooth scrolling for Logitech. I have this color picker one. I also have this Clockify, which allows me to clock my time. And then I have Grammarly, which helps me with grammar when I'm writing emails or things inside the web browser, even if I'm writing documents inside the web browser. So with this color pick one, it allows me to, once I click it, it allows me to move these little crosshairs around the web page and select a color. So if I click on that color, then it will give me this hex code. So it's 3E627C. So then usually I copy that, and then I open up another tab, and then I'll just search for the color like that. And when I search, it will usually give me the RGB code. So depending on, I guess, how obscure that color is, I might need to go to color hex or one of the other ones. But this one is 6298.124. So I'm going to say that one more time, 6298.124. Then when I go back to my website, and I'll just press escape to get rid of that, then go to themes and go to customize. And then if I go to change my colors, so I can click here and then I could type in the 6298.124. So I could type that in here, 6298.124. And then that gives me that color. So I can select the color that I want at that point in time, save my changes, and then that background color should appear. Let me switch to a different page. Actually, I think this theme doesn't use the background color like that. Let's see. Customize. Oh, it's because we have this background in place. So the background color is actually behind this background image, so that's not applying. But it could be the accent color. So this is 6298.124. So that's my accent color. And I can't find a place where the accent color applies. Link color. So you'll have to trust me on that one, that the change in the colors will apply. It really just depends on the theme. And I picked the theme that I'm not extremely familiar with, but it really applies to the theme. You can also change the heading font and the navigation font as well. So I wonder if I have a hyperlink on my site. I feel like I'm determined to show that that works now. There's a hyperlink right there. So if I go back to themes and go to customize and 6298.124. So and then that's my hyperlink color. Then save it. And then when I go down here, my hyperlink is now that color. So everything kind of matches color scheme wise at that point in time. So that's how you can change the colors using the RGB code. Okay, so let's go back to themes. There's customize, and we kind of just spoke to the concept of customize. There's also styles, and styles allow you to control the look and feel of your fonts. So when you're using a Word document, lots of times you'll go in and you'll highlight a word, and then you'll change the font and the color and everything on that single word. With this, you're going to have styles, and you're going to apply styles to a group of text on a page. So you'll have like headings, and actually let me go back. You'll have headings, you'll also have normal and normal red and these types of items down here. So these are going to be broken into two sections. There's going to be block styles and inline styles. The block styles in most cases are always going to be your headings, and the inline styles are going to be the items that are in the body of the page. So when you start typing out the context of that blog post, you're going to be selecting these inline styles. So, and I'll show that more here in just a second, but when it comes to these styles are more than just color and fonts. It's also additional HTML code that it puts into the page. So whenever you're working with a website, you're actually creating HTML. And you know what Church360 Unite does is it makes it easy to create your web pages by doing all that HTML coding for you, so you don't have to know that to create a page. So with this, like if you create a heading 1, it adds an H1 tag to that heading information. And what's the H1 tag? It basically tells your search engines that this page is about this information that's labeled as H1. So if it's a church directory page, you're going to want church directory to be heading 1, so when search engines crawl your site, they know that, hey, that's what this page is about. So HTML communicates more than just, you know, fonts and pictures and stuff like that. It's also communicating to search engines. So in working inside of here, you can change the font family, you can change the style, you can change the font sizes. So this uses a thing called EM instead of like points. So it's on the web, so it's a little bit different, but you can change the size. You can see the response over here. And then if there's any text decorations, you can add those in, plus switching colors. And you can kind of notice, and I'm just going to save here, but you can kind of notice how these are red and these are kind of like that burnt orange. So with the colors, you can apply colors here, and then it'll apply everywhere on the whole website that you apply this style. So if I want something to be red, I create a red inline style, and then anywhere on the website where I use that, it's applied. And if I need to make a change to the style, it updates all 30 pages with that change to the style. So it's kind of a shortcut. But you can go in and create as many of these as you like. It does have a load speed, so depending on the design of the style, it could take longer to load all those fonts. So you do want to be careful with that. From there, there's going to be advanced and edit. So with advanced, this allows you to insert custom headers and custom scripts into your site. So headers are going to be CSS. A website is going to be made up of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's going to be made up of those 3 types of code, but then there's also going to be pictures and words and images and videos and music and stuff like that. But coding wise, it's going to be those 3 things. The CSS are going to be your cascading style sheets, and they allow you to have a style across your whole website. And this code here is working with your it looks like it's working with your fonts. Oh, no, actually that's buttons. You can see that right there. So it's allowing you to insert buttons onto your site. So this might be a way where if there's something that's not done natively by the site, you can tweak the site to insert additional CSS or insert additional JavaScript. So not required, but it's an option that's out there for the advanced users who want to use the site. The other option is edit. And edit allows you to clone your theme. So we've kind of configured this theme and now we want to clone it. So this is module, so I'm going to call this cloned module theme. And click create. And once we clone the theme, what it's going to do is it's going to switch it over here. It's going to apply that theme, even though it doesn't say it. And then you're going to have a cloned module theme. From there, the next time you go to edit, you're going to be able to see all of the, I guess, behind the scenes workings of your website. So inside here, assets are going to be components that you plug into your site. Images are going to be pictures that are tied to the site. There's your default theme and your email theme. So whenever you access the site, the default theme controls the look and feel of your site. So when you're changing themes, you're actually selecting a different default theme. And there's a few things that people sometimes clone their theme to do. Email theme is the template used when you send out an email. There's also theme descriptions and thumbnails here inside the product as well. So most people are not going to clone the theme and dig into this aspect of the site. But if you're an advanced user or if there's something specific that the software doesn't do, you can open up the theme and you can basically do just about anything within this part of the software. So I won't dig into that too much, but there's options there for things that you'd like to do inside the software. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to themes and switch back to our material theme with our kind of bluish gray preset there and switch that back. So why don't we go ahead, I'm running a few minutes long here, it's 10:52. Let's go ahead and take our 5-minute intermission, and then what we'll do is at the end of the 5-minute intermission, we will resume and run through the rest of the material. So I'm gonna go ahead and start, and I'll see everybody here in just a few minutes. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hope everybody had a wonderful intermission. I'm just going to jump back to Church 360 Unite here, and let's transition from themes over to pages. And pages is going to be where you're going to control your menu bar, but it's also going to be where you set up the containers for the content on your site. So in looking at this, you'll notice as you look up the window that this window is broken into two panels. So there's going to be active menu items and there's going to be available menu items. The available menu items are going to be the ones that are actually in your menu bar. So you notice how this says home, calendar, I'm new. So when we go to our page, go to our home page, it's home, calendar, I'm new. So in looking at this, we've got, those areas. So that's going to be what you as administrators set up inside of the software. These items can be dragged and dropped into position. The items that are indented are going to be ones that are inside of the category container. You'll also notice different icons. So the one that looks like a little blank sheet of paper, that one's going to be, we call them static pages. So basically when you put the content on that page, it stays that way until you come back to the page and make changes. So the little white piece of paper is going to be a static page. The one below that is going to be our calendar page, and the calendar page allows you to see all of your church events. So all of the events that we add into the system are going to be attached to a calendar where you can go here and turn these calendars on and off, and then they'll show here on the view. So that's the calendar page. Below that's going to be more static pages. You'll see here when we get to prayer requests and choir upcoming songs that they have like, it almost looks like a little folder that you drop into a filing cabinet. So basically this icon tells us that these are feeds. So feeds are basically blogs, and basically you'll be attaching posts to these blogs. We're going to show that here in just a second. Below that are the two little guys there. Those are, this is our members page, and the members page is our online church directory. So all the people that we have in Church 360 members will flow into Church 360 Unite, and depending on where they are, depending on if they're marked as listed or unlisted, that's going to determine whether or not they show here on the members directory. And Jordan will be digging into that further. But from there, below the members page, there's going to be one more type of page, and that is our groups page. So like we have digitized study here, that's going to be a groups page, and they call it a page because this is the area that it makes sense to create containers for information. So we do that here, but really it's more like a little website within your website because it has its own pages and its own calendars and discussions and things like that. So but it's going to be the little group symbol here. So from here, you can drag, like I mentioned, drag and drop top to bottom, but you can also drag left to right. You can add in new pages, and you can add in new categories as well. So like to add a page, the one we're just going to call it sample page. So I'm going to click here and click create page. You can create different types of pages. So it could just be a blank static page, but it also could be a feed page, which is going to be like your blogs. It could be a group page, which is going to allow you to create that little website inside of this website. But they could be some of these canned pages where they already have information in the page to kind of get you started. So we're just going to start with a blank page and click create. And we're going to call ours sample test page. And then we'll press enter. So when we press enter, it's going to create our slug. So basically that slug is going to be the location of where that page exists, on the website. Ronald just asked the question, hey Ronald, how's it going again? So he asked, is the webinar being recorded? And the webinar is being recorded, and we are going to post the recording in our resource center. So if you go to concordiatechnology.org and then click Resource Center, then on here you can go to software and you could select one of our software to watch any of our previously recorded videos plus this video as well. So absolutely. Okay, so from there, when you're creating these pages, this is going to be the slug. That's going to be the location of the page. I'm going to click Save Changes to save my changes. Then if I have it over here on the right-hand side, it's kind of like my staging area for my pages. So in looking at it, this page could be in a draft status. It could also be, my action buttons are cut off down here on the bottom. Let me see if I can reset my view here just for a second. I'm not sure why that is. See if that does it. No, that doesn't do it. Let me try hide here 1 second. Automatically hide taskbar. It just hit itself. There we go. Okay, so now we can see the buttons down here at the bottom, and you'll be able to click on the pages and then apply one of the actions across the bottom to that page. So every single page is either going to be published or draft. So lots of times when I'm doing onboardings with customers, I look and I see and they have all the pages set to draft because they're still working on those pages. So the page is going to be either published or draft. And if you need to publish the page, you'll click on the page. Usually I click right here in the middle and then click on published. And if I need to make it draft, I'll click on the page and I'll click on draft. So when you publish the page, you'll have one of two options. So either the page is going to be public or the page is going to be private. So if the page is public, it'll be able to be seen by anybody who accesses the site. If the page is going to be private, you have to log into the site to see the information for those pages. So public side, private side. You'll notice here that the members page has the members only tag on it, and that means that that page is going to be members only, and it's the only page in the site that yeah, that's true, the only page in the site that is always members only. It cannot be made public. Like you can go in and you can make these groups public. That's actually managed from within the group, and Jordan's going to show you that here in just a little bit. But the members page is the only page that cannot be made private. It's always, or cannot be made public, it's always private. Okay, so then there's the option for delete, which allows you to delete a page, and there's an option for duplicate, which allows you to make a copy of the page. So say we have a what we believe page, and we're going to update the page, but we don't want to mess with our current page. We click on duplicate, it takes the page, it creates this duplicate page. We can work on that page. Then when it's ready to go live, we can delete our old page, modify the name of this page, and then drag it over here to the left and have it be our live page. So it allows you to kind of create your own little workspaces. So from here, the only other thing I need to show before we show in-page modifications is adding a category. So if I click on add a category, it's going to create the category over here, sample category. And then that can be dragged into a different spot. You can't have a category inside of a category. It'll allow you to drop it there, but when you save it, it'll just disappear. So we don't have subcategories at this time, but you can drag your pages into that sample category at that point in time. So it could be here on the right or here on the left, but that's how you create categories. When it comes to categories, to delete a category, you'll just drag the category over here to the right and it just deletes at that point in time. So that's how you manage the categories. So we're going to go to our sample page here. Are you sure you want to leave without saving? Save changes. So we'll go here and continue. So then from there, that's going to take us over to our page. Once we're here, we're going to use edit page to open up the page and allow us to make changes. So running down the left-hand side is going to be a group of controls for your page. You can control the layout, and the layout is controlling these little blocks that appear here inside your screen. So the layouts have hierarchy. So when I'm looking at this, this is probably our best example right here. So there's 4 different blocks. There's a block at the top. Then there's 3 blocks going left to right underneath. And those blocks are numbered basically. So I'm going to call mine 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just going to save here. And then when you're working with your, let me close this. When you're working with your responsive design, those blocks are the items that reposition themselves vertically as you're working with the site. So the very top one here will always be at the top. That'll be your header or your banner. Then the first one on the second row will reposition itself below it. Then the second one in the middle there will go below that first one. Then the third one will go below that second one. So you know, where you put information on the page does matter, and these blocks kind of have a way that they rotate exactly the same way every single time. So the benefits of the layout is it controls where information is going to flow on the page. So I'm going to go to, I'll use this one here, and we're going to use lorem ipsum here, and we're just going to create some text here to copy onto the page. So okay, so I'm just going to copy this first paragraph here, then go back to the website here, and then paste that text in there. So when I'm working with these layouts, it's going to control the flow of the text. So I might put pictures on one side and images on the other side, or you know, if I'm a different layout, I might just select completely different options. So it really just depends on what I'm doing and where I want that text to go. So you know, I can position it wherever. So from there, let me okay, so it looks like that menu bar is going to, the bar is going to show down at the bottom. But from there, below layouts is going to be status, where I can switch from published to draft. I don't have to go back to pages at the top to do that. You'll notice how it has the URL, and earlier I mentioned, hey, you could change the URL. So if this is going to be one of those pages that is like a temporary page or a workspace, I can go in and modify the URL. When I change it, I probably want to change the page title as well, and then just save my changes. And then it'll update my URL here at the top, but the old URL will no longer be accessible. So changing the URL names is somewhat dangerous, because if someone has the old URL, they'll no longer be able to access it, but it also could be necessary as well. So below that's going to be the meta description, and the meta description is, I'm going to go back here to this color code tab. The meta description describes what that page is about. So if we go to churches in St. Louis, per se. Okay, and then I see this website, the best 10 churches in St. Louis, Missouri. This meta description, this content is what you're filling in here on the left-hand side. So meta description is going to be what people will read about this web page when they find it in search engine results. So you'll want to fill in meta description on any of your popular pages. So once you've done that, when you go into the body of the page, it's going to pop up this WYSIWYG editor. And in working with the WYSIWYG editor, it's very similar to working with Word with a word processor. So there's copy and paste options. And earlier, I think I just, pasted. I might have used Control V or something like that to paste. But if you right click, you can paste, and it'll give you the option to paste text only. So in working with this, in most cases, you're going to want to paste just as plain text, text only. But if you're working in Word and there's some formatting that you want to save, you'll want to paste from Word and paste it into the box. So you just kind of want to think about that when setting up and creating your pages. So to the right of that's going to be undo and redo. There's going to be the option to insert an anchor. Now, anchors are something that we mostly see in really long Word documents. So we can call this first anchor. And basically what you do is you have to insert an anchor into the page. Then I'm going to save it. And then when you want to create a hyperlink to that anchor, like it could be something that's a chart of accounts or something like that, you can click in the body of the same page, and then you can go to your hyperlink, and then you can state what type of link you want to go to. So it could be a page or feed in this site. It could be an anchor within this document. Let me try that one more time. I think when I created the anchor, cancel, okay. Anchor name, then insert anchor, I will send an email to everybody on how to create the anchor. And it's something really simple, and I seem to forget it every single time, but I'll send the, you may not even use anchors. Anchors are just for really long documents, but I'll send everybody an email with the steps on creating an anchor. What is it? That baffles me every time. Okay, so from there, with hyperlinks, you can create additional hyperlinks. So it could be a page or a feed within your site. So you could create a link over to Bible studies. It could be a URL. So it could be a URL over to your church's denomination. So we have a lot of churches that are LCMS. So if we wanted to create a link over to this page, what we could do is on our website, we could go here and then you could highlight that and then go to anchor, and you can say any URL, and then you could paste your link in there. You could type your link in there. Then you can state what you want to happen. In most cases, you're going to say a new window, but you could select one of the options as well. So when you go to OK, then you save, then you close edit page, then you can just click on the hyperlink and it'll jump you over to the page that you've created the hyperlink for. So, okay. So, so that's creating a hyperlink. Let's open up the edit page again. Inside of there, there's also the option to create an email address, like a mail to link, and then there's an option for a file that users could download. So, you know, if it's a mail to link, it could be the fact that it's pastor's email address. So like, you could say like contact church office or contact pastor. And then you could highlight that, click here, then email address, and say this was pastor@mail.com. So you put in pastor's email address. You could put in a subject, you could put in the body, information into the body, then save. Then when you click on the link, what it does is it hands the email off to your default email client and starts that email process for you. Okay, so from there, let's go back to edit page and let's show uploading a bulletin. So for most churches, what they're going to do is at some point they're going to have a page that they use for their bulletins. So to upload, like, let's say this is March's bulletin. What you can do is you can highlight that text, click on the hyperlink, and you can go to, instead of any URL, you can say a file that users can download. Now inside this window, it's going to show you the assets on this page. Assets are going to be videos or MP3 files or Word documents or PDFs or something like that. In most cases, you're going to use a PDF file to make it a little harder to modify and change. So these are the ones that are already on the site. You can click upload to upload additional images. So, so we're going to go to Church360 training. And then we have a PDF here, and then we'll click open, and then that will upload that PDF. And then you just click OK, and then it creates that hyperlink for you. So I'm going to save it one more time and then close the tab. Then with PDFs, your web browser is automatically going to render that PDF for you. So this could be your church bulletin. Mine's just a fake one, but this could be your church bulletin, and it can show up in a bulletins page where you show each one of the months. Okay, so we'll go back. And okay, so we'll open up the, let me sign back in. Oh, I am signed in. There we go. So edit page. Then at this point, let's take a look at a few more of the WYSIWYG options. So in looking at the WYSIWYG editor, I'm going to clear out this middle cell here. You do have the option to insert images. When you're working with images, in most cases, you're going to use PNG files or JPEG files. So I have a JPEG here of the church. I can click open, and then I can insert that JPEG. Now, when working with images, the images could be larger than the space that you're trying to insert the image, and the image can turn out to be skewed, like this one's tall and skinny when the image isn't tall and skinny. So you can go to your image properties, which is the same window, but you can go to advanced, and then you can specify the width of the image. So I usually lock the aspect ratio so I don't have to guess what's going on there. But if I change it to 300, that's pretty close. Most of the themes are about 900 pixels wide. They might be a little bit less. It might be 850 or 840, but if you say around 900 and you start dividing it by 3, you get down to 300, you're pretty close at that point in time. But you can also open up the tools inside of your web browser, and it has a bunch of information in there, and you can find out the exact width, or you can contact us and we can let you know the exact width of the theme that you're using as well. So okay, so from here, once you've resized your image, I just want to show the image properties a little bit more, but when working with the image properties, you'll notice how it says alternate text. When it comes to images, images are just an image unless I guess unless the AI can figure out what the image is. So if that artificial intelligence can look at the image and determine it's a building or a church or a person or a car, then it can know what it is. But in most cases, you'll have to enter in alternative text to say what that image is for the search engines to know that this is a church or a building or a picnic or whatever's going on. So alternative text helps with your search engine optimization because they know more about your site. They rank your site higher in the search results. So you're closer to number 1 at that point. Advisory title is information that's going to show to people who view the site. So you can put in an advisory title. You can save your changes. Then when you hover over, save changes and close the tab. Then when you hover over the image, it's going to show that advisory title information. So you can be like, hey, this was 2019 VBS picnic or something. So you can go in and add in that additional information so those pictures make more sense and have more context. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So that's inserting an image. Similar process for inserting audio. So like you click on the little microphone and you can upload audio. With audio, it is going to be an MP3 file that you're going to upload, and then it'll just upload. It'll also include a little player as well, so that if you go to OK, it'll have the little microphone there, but once you save and you edit your page, you'll be able to play the audio, and it'll play in this little player. You can adjust the volume and stuff like that. So that's how you can upload audio. Lots of people like to upload the audio of pastors' sermons. So to be able to do that, this is the step that you would take. So then there's also uploading video, which allows you to upload an MP4 file. There's also embedding a YouTube video. So say that we go to YouTube and we'll go here and LCMS sermon, and then we'll use Pastor Harrison here. So at that point, when you, let me pause that, then from there, there's a share option on the page. And when you share, there's an embed button. So it'll give you embed code, and that will allow you to embed that into your web page. So this isn't a great layout for embedding images. So I'm going to switch over to this one and embed this here. So I'm going to go to embed, and then I'm going to embed the code. Now you'll notice the width is 560 and the height is 315. So that fits within this space here, and that works good. So I'm going to lose my other changes because I've changed the layout. I'm just saved over the top of it. But that's how you can go in and embed videos and then play those videos if you'd like. Okay. So embedding is popular. A benefit of embedding videos is it doesn't take up your space on your site. Plus, it provides your videos to, I guess, probably one of the biggest platforms in the world right now, with it being YouTube. So it doesn't take up any space really here. So if you upload videos, videos are pretty large, but you can save on that space. So, okay, so let's edit here and go back to our WYSIWYG. You can insert tables. We kind of advise against inserting tables because they're rigid and they need so much space. So if you're going to insert a table, you probably want to think about that to see if that's going to make sense, because when you go to a smaller device, that table might stretch outside of the viewable range and leave you with information not showing. So you want to be careful there. There's a horizontal line. There's symbols. If you need to insert a copyright symbol, you can do so. You can also view the source code. So for those that are, I guess, fluent in HTML, you can go in here and make tweaks and changes. Not required, but you may want to. With styles, you can apply the style to a section and just kind of tweak it. You know, every page should have heading 1 to help with search engine optimization. But you can go in and apply different headers. The paintbrush will jump you up to the styles section to tweak your styles. Bold, italics, underline, strike through. We're familiar with those. Numbering and bullets, orientation, justification, align left, center, right, and then all the way across the page, which is a smart all the way across the page. It doesn't, like back in the day, you used to do justification across the page and it literally would stretch everything across the page. But with this, it's like a smart justification across the page. You can also decrease your indent, increase your indent. You can do block quotes, which I really like block quotes. So like this is a quote. You can do block quotes. Then it will block that quote, like somebody's talking about a certain subject or topic and you're attributing to what's being said to that person, so you can block quotes. Then the last of the WYSIWYG items is insert a group. So let me insert that group. So this allows you to insert a group widget, and the group widget basically is like advertisement for that group. So it could be a small group widget, a medium group widget, or a large group widget. And the more, or I guess the larger the widget becomes, the more information is provided. So it could just be a link to the group. It could be the group description. It could also include the leaders of the group as well. So, okay. So that's those are the controls and tools inside of our WYSIWYG editor, and there may be screen is still on YouTube. Oh, is the screen still on YouTube? Actually, let's do a quick video check. If somebody could post in the question box whether or not you're still seeing YouTube. It went back. Perfect. Okay. So it's 11:31 and I still have another 5 or 6 minutes worth of information before the quiz. If anybody needs to drop off, feel free to do so. We will be posting the webinar online. And if you have a few more minutes, I'd love if you stay with me. So, okay. So the other type of page we need to take a look at is the feed page. So to access your feed page, close edit page here. You'll go to pages and you can either create a feed page or you can use one of the pages that's already in there. So I'm going to go to add page and I'm going to click on feed page and click create. And I'm going to do pastor's blog. And then press enter. Oh, it's already taken. Let's see. So we're gonna senior pastor's blog. That's not taken. Okay, so then from there, I'm gonna save changes. And then I could drag that over here to the left if I needed to. So changes have been saved. I'm just gonna refresh my screen here. Then at that point, it's probably seniors pastor's blog. There we go. So I can click on the hyperlink. then that'll jump me over to this feed page. So there is an RSS option, which basically, and I don't know if a lot of people use these RSS feeds, but there's definitely people out there that use them. So it's still popular. You may have a feed reader and you plug in these different feeds. So you do have the code there to set up those feeds. So I'm gonna reload this page here, and if you go to edit page over here, it'll allow you to create a new post. So this post could be, hey, this is the text of pastor's sermon. It could be that we're plugging in the audio from the sermon. It could be also we're embedding the YouTube video. So any of those could be the case. So last Sunday was the 10th. So this could be 03/10/2019 sermon. So then from there, the WYSIWYG would act and behave like it did in other parts of the software. So I'm just gonna copy the lorem ipsum. Okay. Then just paste that into the body here. So let's say that this is my sermon. Then from there, I could fill in, like this is on this feed, there's meta description. You can tell the system how many posts you want to show per page. You can also say show post content. So let me save this, and when let me create it first. So it's in draft form, but and let me save this blog post. So if it's showing post content, then it's actually going to show the expanded post. Now, if you have a lot of posts, you may want to not show the post content. Then it'll look like this, and then you'll click on the link to view the actual post content and manage the post content. So in working with that, you kind of have to decide, how do you want your site to look? Do you want it to show it directly on pastor's blog, or do you want them to click the link to jump over to see the content? The more you have, you probably want to click the link to jump over to see the content. So you can allow comments. If you're allowing comments, you probably want to moderate comments so that people do have to log in to leave a comment, but sometimes people will say things that maybe you don't want to be seen on your site. So usually what you'll do is you'll moderate your comments. So I'm going to save my changes. I am going to go over here, and then at this point I can make changes to the actual post. This post is on this feed. There are statuses for your post, so it could be draft, it could be scheduled, it could be published. So draft means, hey, we're still working on this post. Published means it's live and it's out there for the audience that you've created it for. And scheduled means that you can schedule it for a future date. So you could say, hey, I'm scheduling it for this date to be published, and that date could be in the future. So from there, you'll have a URL, you'll have a title, meta description, and you can move it between feeds. So there's times that you'll create a post, you'll have it on the wrong feed. You'll be like, hey, I need to switch that over to a different feed at that point. So let's say that ours is now published. We're done with it. We're good to go. We can save it. And once it's saved, if we have the option for comments, you can, people can leave comments at that point. So this sermon was just okay. Then you can post those. So at that point, post, comment was submitted. It doesn't automatically show down here. That comment will flow into activities and flow into comments. Then you'll have the option to review those comments and either approve, which you can kind of see down here, cut off, or delete. So if it's okay, you're like, hey, I approve that, or you're like, man, my sermon was not just okay, and you can delete it at that point. So you can make up your mind on, what you want to do with those comments, and just approving makes them public at that point in time, or moves them to whatever level of security that post or that feed has. Now, with your post, all of your posts may not be published. Some of them may be draft, some of them may be scheduled, but you can go in here and you can manage those posts as well. So down at the bottom, there's publish, make draft, delete, and change feed as well. But that's the information I had for this session. You could definitely post questions. I'd love to hear from you. Let's switch over to our quiz, and we'll use the polling option for our quiz. So there we go. Okay, and let me launch the poll. Okay, that seems to be working. Perfect. So quiz question number 1. True or false? A domain name is a custom address that internet users that takes internet users to your website. True or false? Okay. I'll go ahead and close the poll and share the results. And we were unanimous. Everybody said true. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and hide the results and share the answer. And the answer is true. A domain name is an address that internet users can use to access your church's 360 Unite website. We would note custom domain names can be purchased from a domain provider. So that could be us, and there's other ones out there as well. Okay, so question number 2. Here we go. Themes control the design and color scheme of your website. True or false? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the poll and share the results. So everybody said true. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hide the results and share the answer. And the answer is true. Each theme is different and has its own characteristics. Themes also provide controls for fonts and different website code. So all true, all true. Okay, question number 3, true or false? Here we go. Making changes to the order of the Making changes to the order of the active menu items in the page view will change the order on your main menu items throughout the website. True or false? Okay. So I'm going to close the poll and share the answer. Share the results. 40% said true and 60% said false. So I'm going to show the answer, and the answer is true. And let me show that real quick. Here we go. So when you go to pages, I didn't say this specifically, and probably I should have. Changing the order here does change the order of the items in the drop list. So, and I guess also left to right as well. So like if calendar is here and home is here, if I was to move home and calendar, which you would never have home not at the very first spot, but it changes the order and it changes your drop list position as well. So it does make that change. Sorry about that, everyone. Let me move that one back. Home should be the very first item. That's kind of like an internet convention there. So, okay, let's go back to here. Then our next question is going to be true or false as well. Here we go. Posts can be scheduled to release automatically on a future date. True or false? Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. So we were unanimous. Everybody said true again. So I'm going to hide the results and share the answer. And the answer is true. Posts can have a status of draft, published, or scheduled. If a post is set to scheduled, you will want to enter an appropriate published date. So basically, setting up the date to when you want to publish this post. So good job, everyone. Do you have any questions? Feel free to post those questions in the question box. We'd love to hear from you. And also, I just want to, because people begin to drop off pretty quickly at the end of these things, I do want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar. We hope you enjoyed today's session. And of course, if you have further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can give us a call. You can shoot us an email. Inside the software, there's this I down here at the bottom, and you can use that to send us a message. It also allows you to research information. So you can use any of those to reach out to us. Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions, I hope everybody enjoyed today's session, and I will talk to everybody soon. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everybody. For Jordan Bogart, this is Rod Kiles. We are signing off. Thanks, Virginia.